Great.
Yeah.
So at the time you met him, he was a teacher for many years.
Yes.
And then you met him. Yeah.
Yes, I met him in 2009, and
Okay.
I think he'd been teaching since the 80s. He was teaching before he met his teacher, and then
Nice.
he met his teacher, and it just profoundly changed his teaching. Then he offered satsang, then he offered, this transmission of silence, really.
What do you think? What is it about him that you resonated so much, or you thought that this is it? He's your teacher. What was it, you think?
It's much more mysterious than that, because in a way you don't have a choice. It's like actually his wife is a very famous teacher, and she was the one I was going to see. I wanted to see Gangaji. She's a very beautiful teacher, very clear and true.
She's quite famous in Japan as
well.
well.
Oh, really? Oh, yes. She's, I think, famous everywhere.
Yes, all over the world. Yes.
So I went to see her, and he was on stage. They were teaching together, and I didn't even know. And I was trying to just ignore him and listen to her the whole time. and then at some point, he just said something that hit me in my heart and shook me a little bit. And then I found myself booking into an Enneagram retreat with Eli without knowing what the Enneagram was. But I knew I had to be there. I just knew I needed to be with Eli. And I didn't know why.
That's what you mean by no choice.
Yes, it's really no choice. And then during that Enneagram retreat, it was just clear, oh my God, Eli is my teacher. And really the feeling was I finished. I found what I've been looking for.
What a feeling, eh?
Yes, it's profound, actually, to stop searching, my God. And to have really the pointer. It's not like there was a book or a sentence of the truth. Here's the truth. It was that I saw it in myself. I could see my own presence. I could see consciousness was aware of itself. And in consciousness being aware of itself, that's the discovery of the truth of yourself, and that's home. Then there's nothing left to do but to be.
So in a way, his existence itself was teaching.
Yes, that's right. I mean, this is all existence. Eli is existence.
Wow.
So it was just something I had to realize, oh my God, this is the truth, and I had to say yes to it,
Right. And you mentioned about Enneagram. That's the class that you start going at right after you met him. And this is a newer book.
That's actually the older version. There is
older version of yeah.
Yes, it's just a newer version with a new cover and some changes through it. Yeah.
So From Fixation to Freedom, that's the Enneagram book that Eli wrote. And the reason why I came up with is that, well, we don't have enough time to, I think, talk about Enneagram itself, but because that's going to be a whole nother story. But I just wanted to introduce, I'm sure you can't read it, but this is Japanese translated version of Eli's book.
Yes.
And it is translated by Ayumi Ogata.
Yes.
A Japanese student of Eli.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you mention a little bit about maybe this Japanese version, or how Ayumi get to translate this, and anything about it?
Ayumi showed up in the Leela school, which is Eli's school that I teach in, and she is someone who was seeking herself, and she's a helper. She's a guide, a teacher herself, a mentor, and so she came to really finish the delusion or the illusion that is running in her, to really be true to herself. And she has stayed for many years because I believe she found what she was looking for. And so she's just a really wonderful being. And she, out of pure service, volunteered to translate the whole book. It's amazing. I recommend people, the Enneagram, just to give you a sense of it, is, people think of it as a personality system, but it's actually much deeper than personality. It's actually not personality in reality. Personality is, everyone has their own personality. Personality is very superficial. You can be a kind of funny person, you can be a friendly person, but underneath funny and friendly are deeper running patterns. There can be deep subconscious avoidances, deep subconscious judgments happening. There can be emotional patterns, there can be physical patterns, there can be mental patterns. And it's what we would call character fixation, which is just it, so you can have two people with the same character fixation with very different personalities. And so, it's more profound than that, because people tend to see it as, okay, I'll read this book and maybe I'll be able to change my personality. But actually, it can change your whole life, because you can start to see how you have identified yourself as a somebody, as a man, as a woman, as a person, as a Japanese person, Australian person, how you are identified as your personality. And really the truth of who you are is far more deeper than that. Because if you stop for a moment and stop thinking for a moment, then who are you? Can you say, I am Japanese, if you stop for a moment and don't let a single thought arise? So reality is actually deeper than thought, and it's deeper than emotions. So the first step is to start to observe your thoughts and observe your emotions and see, what do I think is real? What am I doing? What am I wanting? What am I avoiding? What am I trying to prove? And then you start to see all these patterns that you've been doing all your life and thinking, this is me. And yet the pattern is in the book. It's kind of, there are all these other people doing the exact same pattern as you. So it's not really you, it's just a pattern. And if it's unconscious, if you're unaware of it, you just do it and do it and do it without even knowing. But when you become conscious of it and you become aware, then something changes. You become more natural. Patterns start to drop away and you're free. So it's, it's profound, I would say. It was life-changing for me.
So you would say Enneagram is the tool, maybe, to discover who you really are and know what's the pattern that stops you from becoming who you really are, maybe.
Yes, it doesn't stop you from becoming it. It makes a song and dance that you then identify with.
I see.
So it shows you how you are identified. And then in that way, so it's like a mirror. It puts a mirror up to yourself. And in seeing what you're doing, seeing the patterns of habits, patterns of avoidances, then you can stop, and then your true self is actually revealed. As when you stop identifying and stop with the patterns, then your natural true self reveals itself to itself. So your true self is always here. It's this, and you are your true self always. No matter what you think, you are the true self, because otherwise it wouldn't be true. So it's good news. And then when you stop all this other stuff, then your true self shines like a light.
I hope everybody finds that light.
Yes, I mean, that would be beautiful.